Chair McCoy. We do not have a quorum. We are waiting on one more commissioner.
I'm having trouble with my audio. I'm gonna log out and log back in.
Okay, sounds good.
Hi, City Clerk. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, and we do have a quorum, you said?
Yes, Commissioner Braza just joined us. We do have 5 commissioners online.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I will now call this meeting of the Parks, Recreation, and Arts Commission to order. City Clerk, would you please do roll call?
Yes. And just to note, Commissioner Parks will not be in attendance today. Commissioner Barraza,
Yes, present.
Commissioner Singh. Do not see Commissioner Singh. Commissioner Cummings,
Here.
Commissioner Miller,
Present.
Commissioner Apuda. Absent. Commissioner Vang, Commissioner Dolan,
Here.
and Chair McCoy.
Here. Thank you, City Clerk. We will now begin the Pledge of Allegiance. Will everyone please stand? Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will now start with the approval of the agenda. City Clerk, is there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Vice Chair Dolan. Thank you, Commissioner Miller. City Clerk, would you please do a roll call vote?
Yes. I actually have Commissioner Vang as the first and Vice Chair Dolan as the second. Is that correct?
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Commissioner Barraza,
Yes.
Commissioner Singh, still absent. Commissioner Cummings,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Apuda, absent. Commissioner Vang,
Yes.
Commissioner Dolan,
Yes.
and Chair McCoy.
Yes.
Thank you.
We will now move on to the approval of the minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes from July 11th, 2022 or July 18th, 2022?
I have not received any changes.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion. Commissioner Vang. I'll second it. This is Cummings.
Thank you, Commissioner Vang and Commissioner Cummings. City Clerk, can you please do a roll call vote?
Yes. Commissioner Barraza,
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Vang, Commissioner Vang? I think you're on mute. Perfect. Vice Chair Dolan
Yes.
and Chair McCoy.
Yes. We will now move on to subcommittee reports. This item is a discussion item for the commission and no public comments will be taken related to this item. Does the Cultural Arts Plan subcommittee have an update it would like to provide to this commission?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sorry. I'm gonna be honest, I'm doing mommy's duty right now. And yes, we do have an update. We will be coming to the meeting on August 15th to provide an update on the cultural arts plans in August 15th. That's all I wanted to share.
Thank you, Commissioner Vang. Thank you, Commissioner Vang.
You're welcome.
Does the Park Master Plan Subcommittee have an update it would like to provide to this commission?
Yes, Madam Chair. I'd like to thank our wonderful city staff for a very, very nice presentation. The Parks Master Plan Committee met last Thursday, July 28th, and we were given an update on the work that has been doing and what's coming up. I'd really like to see the tentative schedule that a lot more work starting in the month of August through March and April. And what I like is that it sounds like this work is going to be completed timely before the city budget gets approved. So we think that it is going to be very beneficial for everybody in the public. I also was very interested in learning about the community input process that will be part of this, and how there should be some relationship to the arts master plan and the arts work input process. I want to thank my colleagues, Commissioner Cummings and Mona Cummings, and John Dolan, Vice Chair of this commission, who also joined us at this event. And I'm very excited. Not only if I mention our Assistant Parks Director, Ali Ramirez, was in charge of giving us a lot of the information. And I was very delighted to get an update. And I thank everyone that participated.
Thank you, Commissioner Barraza. Does the Outreach Subcommittee have an update it would like to provide to this commission? So we will be meeting tomorrow evening from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. to start a discussion about community outreach and what we can do better, and start just putting together a plan, and we'll be able to report back out to this commission our next meeting, which will be August 15th. We will now move on to member reports and comments. As a reminder, this is a time for commission members to report anything they feel important for the public or commission to know, but it's not a time for discussion. Commissioner Barraza, do you have any reports or comments you would like for this commission to know?
The only comment that I wanted to make is that in public reports about projects that are getting funded with Measure P, I've noticed the existence, and I think we've had a little bit of this conversation before, about projects that this commission has not reviewed in much detail. And I'm excited to learn that the master plan process is going to try to incorporate greater community involvement in all the activities, projects, and opportunities for projects that can be funded with Measure P. So I just wanted to make that observation that we're having better dialogue on the importance of getting the commission involved in all aspects of the funding of Measure P.
Thank you, Commissioner Barraza. Commissioner Miller, do you have any reports or comments you'd like for this commission to know?
None at this time, thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Singh, do you have any reports or comments you'd like for this commission to know? City Clerk, did you say Commissioner Singh was inside the chambers?
No, ma'am, there's no one in the chambers.
Okay, thank you. My bad. I thought you said that he has showed up. Commissioner Cummings, do you have any reports or comments you'd like this commission to know?
I would just like to echo the concern that Commissioner Barraza brought up about kind of not being completely informed about what Measure P dollars are being spent on. So that will continue to be a concern of mine. Just to be aware would be nice. Some messaging from City Council, City of Fresno, so that we can talk to the public in a way that sounds very informed and knowledgeable about this subject matter. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. I do recall a couple of meetings ago that we have brought this up to the attention of the city and the Parks Department. I believe it was during the purchase of the Tower Theater where we were all kind of like caught off guard. So I just wanted to echo that I agree with my fellow commissioners on that. Just having that knowledge and being able to really talk to our community residents when they see us, because they do see us, they do stop us, and they do ask questions. So being able to be equipped with that information would be very helpful. Vice Chair Dolan, do you have any member reports or comments you'd like to make to this commission?
None at this time, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioner Vane, do you have any reports or comments to make to this commission?
I just want to give a shout out to Jennifer. She has been so helpful with just keeping us up to loop via email with the cultural art plan. And just wanted to highlight her this week because she has been on me and I appreciate her for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Vang. We will now move on to hearings. ID number 22-1242, hearing to receive public input on allocations related to Measure P, updates to the Parks
Chair
Master
McCoy.
Plan.
Chair, I'm sorry, can I interrupt you? You didn't go out to
Oh.
the public for unscheduled communication.
And then if
Yeah,
I may interrupt,
yeah.
if I may interrupt one more time, members, reports from the city administration and parks as well.
That as well.
I just skipped a whole 2 sections, huh? My bad. I think because we have not a lot of stuff on the agenda today, I'm just like flying through. Let me slow down a little bit here. We will now move on to city administration and park staff reports and comments. Does anyone from the administration have any reports or comments for the commission?
Chair McCoy, Aaron Aguirre, Parks Director. Thank you. I'll make it quick. I know you're trying to get through it, but just wanted to announce last week was an eventful week here in the Parks Department. A lot of great news came out of the department. As you all are aware, on Monday, we announced the purchase of the new Vons building there on Blackstone, north of Ashland, for our dedicated senior center. So we're excited to get that process moving. In addition to that, we also broke ground with the ceremonial groundbreaking ceremony for Van Ness and Weldon on Friday. That was well attended, and the community supported that project. And then Camp Fresno, just wanted to note that we are in our final stretch of Camp Fresno. We have 2 weeks left of Camp Fresno. Sent another 61 kids up this afternoon or this morning. Have another session going up Thursday, and then last week we'll wrap that up. So a lot of great things going on in parks as we conclude our camp season, our summer season, getting as many kids as we can into our programs before heading back to school. So just wanted to highlight some of the great things happening here in the Parks Department. And I know Aldi has a couple items about events this upcoming week. So I want to pass it to Aldi, please.
Good evening, Chair McCoy. Aldi Ramirez, Parks Assistant Director. I just wanted to bring to your attention the first hearing on today's agenda. There is a little bit of a title change. We've added the Parks Master Plan and the Cultural Arts Plan to that standing hearing item. So just wanted to inform the commissioners as well as members of the public that this standing hearing is on every agenda item. And we've broadened that opportunity for the public to be able to come and speak to the commission as well as staff about those 2 additional plans. I also wanted to update everyone that August 15th is our next meeting, and we'll have 2 and maybe more, but wanted to highlight 2 items coming before the commission on August 15th, and that will be an item related to the budget at Commissioner Singh's request. So giving an update as related to what was funded in the fiscal year 2023 budget, as well as the council motions. In addition to that, we will also have an update as Commissioner Vang expressed on the cultural arts plan and the progress made thus far and what's ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Aldi.
Sorry, Commissioner McCoy. Aldi, did you want to touch upon the Ncap meetings this later this week?
Yeah, so Ncap will also be in town this week. That's our cultural arts plan consultant. Thank you, Aaron. And they're going to be visiting. So as the commissioners mentioned, Jennifer Solis from our team has been an amazing resource as a liaison with that consultant. They're coming into Fresno and we'll have a round of activities. And so we will be sending out some communication on that in terms of just opportunities where you may be able to interact with them slash kind of spread the community awareness. Thank you.
Thank you, Aldi. We will now move on to unscheduled communication. Would any member of the public like to speak to any issue within the jurisdiction of this commission? You will have up to 3 minutes.
Yes, Chair McCoy, we have Brandy News Vegas.
Thank you for making sure we had unscheduled, although I did have Measure P suggestion. Thank you. I regarding the outreach, I want to let you guys know again, if there's any way that any of us community members or groups can assist you guys, I would love to make myself, and I know others that would want to make themselves available to help you guys in planning that. Thank you for your persistence and want to be informed of Measure P, and also very excited about the senior center in Weldon, and also saw the splash parks over the last couple of weeks in Vinland and Martin, and their people are very excited about that. I want to circle back to a need, and they're really cool, the splash parks, but I want to circle back to a need I expressed before regarding outreach regarding the cooling centers and the community centers. And I mentioned that, I know it's mentioned at the beginning of summer that the community centers were also open for people to get out of the heat if it was in 105. I asked for, I've been asking for a more thorough campaign to reach people that may not know about this resource, not only those who are unhoused, but there are people who just aren't on social media and aren't connected and don't know about, but certainly for our unhoused community, there's a lack of understanding that it is available to them. So far, it's been the social media posts as far as they're concerned. I haven't seen large banners or anything, and I know that it's a great resource, and there's some lovely people I know in there, but they're not getting the information. And the unfortunate thing with it being 105 for the cooling centers, when, like, especially during the weekends when they would otherwise be closed, is that a lot of people, it's not posted until the day of because you have to wait until to know for sure. And so we really need to see how we can better communicate. During the warming centers during the winter, it was acknowledged that based on my efforts and some of the volunteers I got, that basically because of us, we got people into the warming centers, and that took a lot of work. I was going out every night, letting people know, giving people rides, and during the daytime, I was letting people know about, I was putting up flyers, but it helped because it was the first time where there was a big chunk of time. There was a month and a half that it was open. So it made it easier to put up flyers to let people that we had contact with know how long it was going to be open. And it's a little bit more confusing when it is based off of time. So people, we can give flyers. It makes it easier for outreach. And so we just really need to have, that was exhausting in itself. And we really need to have a way. I would like to see, sorry, I'm getting mixed up, but I would love to see the use of billboards, posters around town to outreach with information about the cooling centers as well as the community centers. I contacted someone when it was 110 and gave them a flyer that I made with the community centers and cooling centers and said, hey, the cooling centers are open. And they were actually surprised, like, it's going to be 105. They didn't know it was going to be.
Sorry to interrupt, Brandy. You're 3 minutes.
Okay, so I'm just asking for that. And as well, we had someone who said that they were turned away from one of the centers saying that it was for kids. I know that might be an anomaly, but if we have this outreach, then they could be assured. We also need to make sure that there is, I can bring it up during the Measure P thing, but would love to see this, not only for this, but also in planning for the warming center to ensure that people have the information that they need and that's out there long enough for people to have advance notice. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Lisa Flores.
Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. First, I have to agree with Brandy's comments about the cooling centers and the heating centers. Everybody knows, after, what is it? Not Thanksgiving, after Halloween to the end of February, it is cold as hell in this town and warming centers are needed. And everybody knows around Memorial Day all the way through September till the start of October, there are opportunities, and also it's necessary for cooling centers. I mean, even today with the overcast, it was very difficult for me. And I have air conditioning. I'll tell you right now, if you have arthritis like I do, you're in a world of hurt when there is an overcast day and high pressure. The only thing that is saving me personally is my air conditioning, and I'm dreading that PG&E bill. Anyway, what I wanted to bring up is I still have yet to get the Gantt chart or construction dates for when you're moving the dog park. My dog people are asking me. I would like to send that out to the 2 groups I run. I represent over 210 people that have signed up for my dog groups, and I really, really would like to give that information to help, reboost my attendance that's dreadfully down because of COVID. Second, I see that the city has the showers for the homeless, but I'm wondering, is there any money available in Measure P to maybe move them into the parks? Because I know for roading right now, there's a lot of day use individuals of the homeless persuasion, and that would give them an opportunity to, at least take a shower, even though the cooling centers aren't open, because it's going to be in the 90s and under 105, but the humidity, oh my God, the humidity. If they can be moved into the parks where they generally hang out during the day legally. Also, too, is there any way you can also keep the number of cops that show up? Because the dog park over at Roding is close to where the homeless are by the tennis courts. And, my folks keep bringing up the fact that they're sitting there, we're enjoying the dog park, we're letting our little dogs run around, get tired. And they keep mentioning, why is there such an incredible increase in police presence in the park? We don't mind the police coming by once, maybe in an hour, but when you see 4 cop cars and they're just trolling, and they need to stop trolling because it's making my park experience a negative experience, because I'm wondering, am I going to get hassled?
Thank you.
And I'm minding my own business as these people are as well, hanging out under the trees, trying to stay cool in this hella hot summer. But anyway, I would also like to see the cooling stations open no matter what the temperature is in August, because that is the stickiest month of the year. And I just want to thank you for your time and your energy. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair McCoy, that is all the public comment we have. And I also like to note that Commissioner Apuda and Commissioner Singh are now with us.
Thank you and welcome, commissioners. We will now move on to our last item on the agenda, ID number 221247, actions pertaining to the Parks, Recreation, and Arts Commission meetings for fiscal year 23. 1, discuss virtual, hybrid, and in-person meetings for future meetings. 2, discuss updating the meeting schedule for fiscal year 23 PRAC. 3rd, action, adopt meeting schedule for fiscal year 23. We will begin.
Chair McCoy, I think if I recall correctly, the order of the agenda, the first item would have been public comment related to Measure P, Cultural Arts Plan. What we just finished was unscheduled communication.
Correct. Okay. Oh, I'm getting lost tonight. Oh, sorry about that. So
No problem.
Go back to ID 221242, hearing to receive public input on allocations related to Measure P updates to the Parks Master Plan and Cultural Arts Plan and annual Parks Department budget and capital improvement plans. Would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item? You will have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you. We have Brandy.
Kimberly, I totally understand. I have to try to keep track of which one is which. So, okay. So first, for an item that a different item I want to address is I wasn't able to attend, but I listened in on the last Parks meeting. And I want to thank, I think it was Commissioner Akuda who brought up, want to thank you for recommending bringing up the participatory budget process. And so I want to voice that during this time for as Measure P, because it would be something that would be, it would be the way that Measure P monies might be steered or allocated to encourage the to bring that back again. I really hope that that gets brought back as an item to discuss and to give for the community to be able to, I mean, for you guys to be able to discuss, because of how powerful a opportunity that would be for the community to be able to be part of, to be able to have a say in the and be more involved, and to be able to reach out in the ways that you're trying to address through the outreach team. I believe that that would capture that. I know that it was mentioned that this is not just outreach. This is not a form of outreach. This is a form of putting aside, using certain funding for this participatory budget. So I just wanted to affirm that recommendation that was brought up at the last meeting, and ask that that would be pursued as an item, as well as the survey process that that CNC also brought up before you. So thank you so much for that. And then just the things that I did not have time to mention in the previous thing regarding the cooling and warming centers. Again, it's a great resource, and I want to make sure that if there could be funding for it, especially to be able to potentially have more chunks to be able to make it a little less complicated between the community center with the availability of access as a regular community center and cooling centers, so that it is not so difficult, especially for those who aren't as who don't have transportation, that might have difficulty accessing information. If there's ways of lowering the temperature, of doing different things to be able to of having chunks of time, even regardless of the temperature, to say during these weeks, this will be open in the future, that would be helpful. And I would really like to see that happen again for the warming center, because that was key. And whenever it closed again and opened back up, I felt like we were starting over. So ask for investment, but also ask for more investment in resources towards that. With Measure P, I heard from some organizations that they were donating water to the cooling centers, and that there is a need for cups, and they have the faucets, but people need cups and other things. So I would like to ensure that there is funding going towards snacks, towards waters, to maybe even water bottles that people can bring back, to ensure that we have that there is full resources at these cooling centers and warming centers. Thank you.
Next, we have Lisa Flores.
Well, first off, I want to make sure that you guys have enough money put aside to do your marketing and outreach with any sort of communications that you have with the public. The second, I'm going to harp on this again. I really want to see what the budget of the new dog park at Roding is, and the timeline of construction. It's going to be I think it's going to be like a year or 2 years since I last seen anything, and would really like to update. And I've mentioned it several times at the city council, and I'm getting really annoyed with no one listening to my request. The third, also too, today I just got a text about it that Newsom called a state of emergency regarding monkeypox, and it's very contagious. If somebody with monkeypox touches something, it's 12 hours on the surface unless you wipe it down. So I would have to piggyback with Brandy, and now you need to think of a safety protocol and items that the one-use items that community members would need in these warming and cooling centers. For example, you have bottled water for people, so you aren't drinking from a communal fountain, because that's a great way to get monkeypox. Individual cups, snacks that are, individually packaged. So, when you're thinking about your budget, I think you also need to look at the element of transmissibility, since we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Now that we have, pandemic number 2 among us, with the flu coming up. So that's the only thing I would think of, is that you guys need to think about that, including things like even face masks in these centers. But that's all I want to bring up. But I really want to see the construction timeline and the expenses of the dog park. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Pedro Cruz.
Hello, thank you all for the opportunity to speak. I definitely wanted to echo the intent to bring back the participatory budgeting process, and definitely wanted to thank Commissioner Opuda for being willing to just look into this a little bit deeper. I did want to suggest folks to check out the participatory budgeting project. They're a nationwide organization dedicated to implementing and assisting organizations and government entities in implementing a PB process. Their website is participatorybudgeting.org. They're very well versed in this, and I think they would be great presenters at one of these future meetings. But just something for the subcommittee to consider, and the committee as a whole. But yeah, I just wanted to flag that and make sure that that's on your radar, because they do a great job in just breaking down what a participatory budgeting process is, and the power that it has and what it can do for communities. But that's all I wanted to share. Thank you all for your time and for your service.
Chair McCoy, that's all the public comment we have for today.
Thank you, City Clerk. Now we will move on to ID number 22. I'm like hesitant now. ID number 22-1247. Actions pertaining to the Parks, Recreation, and Arts Commission meeting for fiscal year 23. First discussion is discussion of virtual, hybrid, and in-person meetings for future meetings. Our second discussion is going to be updating the meeting schedule for fiscal year 23 PRAC. And our last discussion is going to be an action, adopting meeting schedule for fiscal year 23. We will begin with the discussion regarding holding virtual, hybrid, or in-person meetings, as well as the meeting schedule for fiscal year 2023. Would someone from the administration or park staff like to briefly introduce this item?
Hi, Chair McCoy. This is Aldi Ramirez, Parks Assistant Director.
Hi.
I wasn't expecting to, but that's okay. Here we go. So I know one of the things that we wanted to discuss was the frequency of the meetings, being twice a month, and more around having the discussion of twice a month during maybe our slow periods. However, being mindful that we always want to provide an opportunity to the community to provide input. So finding that balance through a discussion today, as well as whether we continue to have the meetings conducted both in a hybrid fashion, so both virtually and in person. So those are the two items to be discussed today, and that will help form any revision to the 2023 calendar.
Thank you.
With that, I'll open it up.
All right, so it's telling me that I need to go out to the public first. Would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item?
Yes, Chair. We have Lisa Flores.
Good evening once again. And anyway, all right. So as you guys are looking at your meetings, you need to realize you really don't get a lot done between Thanksgiving and the first of the year, because family obligations and the holidays and the candy cane hangovers everybody gets. But that's also a time where the city tends to push stuff that nobody's looking at because they're all in the candy cane hangover. If you do your budgets, you want to get your budgets done and finished by no later than March, even though the city comes in April and May to do their stuff and holds their budget hearings in June. The sooner you get it in and done, the more political flexibility you will have. But you guys do the meetings that you're all feel like doing, because you guys are in the midst of this work and I'm not. But I'm just giving you a heads up of what I've seen historically with the city and how they deal with things. So just know they try to gets shady after Thanksgiving. And if you do your budgets early, then you're actually in a position of power. So thank you.
Thank you. And that's all the public comment we have on this item.
Thank you, City Clerk. Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments regarding this item? Starting with number 1, discussion of virtual, hybrid, and in-person meetings for the future meetings. Does any of the commissioners have a comment regarding discussion number 1?
This is Commissioner Cummings, and I would vote to have both. I think having in-person and virtual access is important, especially just in the conditions that we're living at in this day and age, and it makes us more accessible. So that's my
Thank
thought.
you, Commissioner Cummings.
This is Commissioner Vang. I also second my colleagues. I think hybrid is a way to go, especially with COVID still coming back again and just with this new monkeypox. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Vang. Commissioner Barraza, were you going to say something?
Well, yes, I just wanted to thank city staff that they have provided access both ways, personal, in person, and on the internet. I see that to be very useful for commissioners. I kind of wonder, and we didn't get more detailed input from the public, whether the public prefers to talk to us in person at an in-person meeting. Having meetings on the internet is very convenient for commissioners because we have other obligations that we're able to accommodate a lot easier, or sometimes even when we travel, we can join the meeting. So I like it. I like the hybrid approach, and hopefully we can continue with that. But I'm also open that if it became a requirement that we do it in person, because the public wants to talk to us in person, I would be willing to make whatever sacrifice it takes to do that.
Thank you, Commissioner Barraza. Dr. Apuda, do you have any comments regarding discussion 1?
I am in agreement with us continuing in a hybrid fashion, if that is the specific issue being discussed right now.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Miller, do you have any comments or questions regarding discussion number 1 regarding our meetings?
I think the current format is convenient. I feel like I get personally a little bit more out of our meetings when we're actually together, but for the regular meetings, I think hybrid is very convenient. My only suggestion would be that maybe we could intentionally have some meetings in person, maybe at park sites. I think that would be great, but that's just my wish list. I'm happy with the current situation.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. Vice Chair Dolan, do you have any questions or comments regarding the discussion for our meetings?
Honestly, I think that it should be all. I personally find hybrid meetings to be neither fish nor fowl, and really not the best of either one of the worlds. So if conditions make it so that we cannot continue to meet, or that we can't start meeting in person, I would prefer to just stay on Zoom, because I sometimes find it difficult both from an audio perspective and the sense of equal presentation and participation when somebody's sitting in the chambers and it's hard for them to hear and vote, and they often get overlooked, et cetera. But if others like that, I'm fine given the conditions.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioner Vang, do you have any questions, comments regarding discussion around holding our meetings, virtual, hybrid, or in person? I think I called on you. She must have stepped away. Commissioner Singh, do you have any reports or comments or questions?
No, I'm completely fine with the format of our meetings. Hybrid's been nice, but yeah, if we could possibly have some, in-person meetings at parks and stuff, that would be really nice too.
Thank you. Christy, I have a question for you. Do I have to take a vote on each discussion item? Or can I do them all together?
So the only thing that's actually required is that you set a schedule for the meetings moving forward. The format doesn't have to be voted on per se. That just was more of a discussion item for this commission to decide how they want to hold the meetings moving forward. And I will say that hybrid and online meetings are currently available because the state of California is under a state of emergency due to COVID and now monkeypox, which basically loosened up the Brown Act requirements for in-person meetings. So the city council has to, every 30 days, adopt a resolution that allows this to continue. Should they ever choose not to, then we will be forced back into in-person, but we would obviously let you know if we foresee that happening.
Thank you, Christy. I would like to say that I am a fan of the hybrid meeting. Sometimes I am traveling for work and it's easier to log on, or I'm at a staff retreat. So it's easy to log on to take this meeting because I'm not in town. So I like the format of the meeting so far. Being able to hold meetings in parks would be great. We'll be able to really interact with the public and really be able to have a different environment and atmosphere instead of being in chambers or being on Zoom. I wonder what would be the protocol for that. Maybe that's something that we can put on the agenda and have a discussion about it. Sounds like fun. Go ahead and move on to our second discussion, updating the meeting schedule for fiscal year 23 PRAC.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Dr. Apuda.
Before we go on to that, I have a question for Christy. Is it possible if the council makes a decision around in-person that they may also still allow hybrid?
So currently what they vote on is to allow hybrid. So if they choose not to continue that, then we would be, like I said, we would end up going back into in-person. And what that means for this commission is if you are a commissioner who wants to participate in a meeting that's supposed to be in person, but you happen to be out of town, you can call in or participate over the phone. But unlike what you're doing now, where you're probably like in your office or in your home, you would actually have to be out in the public, and you would have to basically give an exact location about where you can be so that the public has access to you during the meeting.
Fascinating.
I know.
Thank you.
And just one more side note, if we go back in person, in order to do that, Dr. Apuda, we would still have to have a quorum in the chambers. So we couldn't have every commissioner just spread about the state of California and hold a meeting.
Thank you, Christy, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, you're welcome. Now we will move on to the second part of our item, which is updating the meeting schedule for fiscal year 23 PRAC. Would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item?
There's no public comment. Oh, Christy, but correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we take public comment on the whole item?
Or we did it as a whole? I want to make sure that I'm just not missing nothing else.
We did. Chair McCoy, you can open it back up if you would like to people who have not already commented on this item.
Okay. I would just like to hear from the public for anyone who hasn't commented on the item about the meeting schedule, how is it working for the first and the third Mondays of the month? Is it convenient? Are you able to be involved with Measure P? Is it too much? Are we meeting too much? Or, like, I just want to hear what the public will have to say, because we're already doing our community outreach engagement subcommittee. So I would just like to know, like, are these meetings convenient enough for them, or are they able to access it? Like, just hear from the public, period. Is there anyone who hasn't spoke, City Clerk, that would like to speak to the second part of this discussion?
Yes, we have two. We have Pedro and Brandy. Pedro, you're on mute.
Hi, yeah, I just like to share that I like the incorporation of like some outreach strategy where the meetings can be, well, one, I do like having the virtual option, but I do think to kind of make this effort a little bit more intimate and bring more people that maybe aren't participating, it would be great to have like some mandatory meetings in person every once in a while. And if they could be at parks, that would be great. And also, if they could be on weekends, that would be even better. Like every once in a while, Mondays do tend to work for me personally, but I'm just thinking from the perspective of how can we get more people involved that are not involved and should be involved and would be involved should we accommodate them. But yeah, those are my 2 cents.
Next, we have Brandy.
Yeah, I piggyback on what Pedro said. I mean, going back to the other thing, the hybrid is great because there are people who, I mean, it's not just a convenience thing. There are people who legitimately would not be able to go online, but I also know that there are people who do not have online access. So having both of those have been helpful. I do like the idea of being able to have in person in neighborhoods. Would be great with proper notice and whatnot, and would love to see how that could be incorporated and be able to, that would be amazing, being able to do that. As far as frequency, at least twice a month is great, especially if it was in person. It would be great to be able to know that there would be a online option at least once a month if there was meetings that were going to be in person in different places for those who can't make it to places in person. And I know that we can't speak for the rest of the community about the days of the week and whatnot. I like Pedro's idea of doing weekends and things that might be more accessible to people. I think that would be a great part of outreach, is to continue to ask people this so that those who aren't the ones who can make it here at this time can weigh in about why they may not be able to if they want to but can't. I do think that Monday does, at least for as far as I'm concerned, it seems to be a little less busy, and the time seems to work out well. But at the same time, I don't feel like I could speak for, while it works really well for me, I don't know if I can speak for other people as well, but would like to see ways that the meetings could, frequencies and meetings could help bridge that gap of accessibility through creative ideas as far as how people can engage through continued conversation with the outreach committee. And thank you. I knew there was something I was going to forget. One thing I think it might be also helpful as well is having, while I know the requirement is to have the agenda out within 72 hours of the meeting, it would be wonderful to be able to have that posted even further ahead, especially in person, but also otherwise, just so there could be a little bit more notice, because it's right before a weekend. Some communications and some organizations get their information out, during the week. So, and I believe that the city council gets theirs on Friday, and their meetings are on Thursday. So having a little bit more time to be able to have to know what's on the agenda, in addition to knowing the days, and then keeping the days on static, first and third, would be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair McCoy, we do have Lisa Flores. She did speak earlier on this item. Would you like for me to?
Yes, you can go ahead and let her speak.
I knew I forgot something in more detail. The one thing that you all have to remember is how are you going to accommodate people with ADA? Currently, you have the city council chamber open so any member of the public can actually come down and speak to you, even though you're not there. So you guys might want to volunteer and show up just to sit in the chair. But when you think about going out to the parks, you have to think of very good weather days where it's not too hot, not too cold. It's the 3 bear rule, where, not too soft, not too hard, just right. That's about 8 weeks in the entire year at the parks. Like for myself, I will always ask for a Zoom option for your meetings because you don't want me showing up, walking into City Hall. It takes me 20 minutes to walk in there on a good day because my knees are that bad. And I'm angry because it takes me not only 20 minutes to walk in, but 20 minutes to get through security because I have to have a different security walkthrough than most people. I literally have to be patted down because of my heart valves because I can't go through any sort of magnetic anything. So you need to think about, the disabled when you make this decision, and the Zoom option works great for a lot of us. So I thank you for your time and this opportunity to speak to you again on this issue.
Chair McCoy, that's all we have for today.
Thank you. Commissioner Barraza, I see your hand up. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of the items or subjects that I kind of wanted to mention, it relates to meetings, but it's more relating to format and content of the meetings. Something that I, as a commissioner, would be very interested in getting, even if we get a monthly or quarterly, a master schedule of projects, all projects indicating their status. Where are they? Are they under design? Are they under construction? And I'm sure that the city staff already does that to monitor the progress of all projects. I used to do that when I worked for the county in the area of capital projects. And it's not that complicated. It's just a matter of sharing that with the commission. And the commission will review it, and we don't have to discuss the list, but commissioners would have the opportunity to ask questions about any project that might be of interest to them. That I think would be very beneficial and useful to get a sense of the progress of the various capital projects that are being implemented. So I'd like to have park staff comment on that possibility.
Thank you, Commissioner Barraza. Aldi, I see your hand up. You have the floor.
This sounds a lot like the capital improvement update that we provide the commission. Right now, we've been coming about quarterly, and our next scheduled one is for September. I know you brought this up on the last meeting as well. And I communicated that we're going to come September after the budget item, just to be in alignment with that. If it's something different, I'd like to hear more about that, and maybe we can do that offline. But that capital improvement update essentially provides an update of projects funded by Measure P, as well as an overall update as to the progress.
Thank you. That would be wonderful.
Thank you. Commissioner Vang, I see your hand up. You have the floor.
I think it's just a recommendation for city staff. I think it would be essential when you have press conference related to city parks or, Measure P funds, because I think it would be important that our commissioner, our chair, especially our chair and our vice chair is invited to attend, because I think there needs to be some representation from our committee. We're here Mondays, and I think we're hearing a lot from our constituents, and I think it's important that my fellow commissioner also gets recognition too, because a lot of the work is behind the scene, and I feel like we are behind the scene people. So I would appreciate if Commissioner McCoy gets invited to press conference and also provide her talking points because she also represents our community, and I think that's important.
Thank you, Commissioner Vang. Do we have any other comments regarding our meeting schedule for fiscal year 23 PRAC?
So just so everybody knows, you do have to set a meeting schedule for regular meetings and locations. So you will need to adopt something tonight. If you continue with Monday nights at 5:30, every other Monday, that's fine. But this is the opportunity to change it up if you so wish for this upcoming fiscal year.
Thank you, Christy. So does Mondays work for everyone still, or would another commissioner like to propose a new day and a new schedule? Or does this schedule that we currently have in place works for everyone?
This is Commissioner Cummings. I personally like Mondays, but also obviously we pay attention to the holidays that are coming up. And during that immediate week where there's a major holiday, we should probably avoid those weeks.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. All right, I see no further discussion. So do we have a motion? Does any member of the commission have a motion regarding the meeting schedule for fiscal year 2023? So the motion can be like keeping the schedule currently in place.
So what I would suggest is you could motion to essentially create a meeting schedule of every other Monday at 5:30 for these commission meetings. And then the staff or the city clerk could come back with a proposed schedule at the next meeting, given your input and taking into account things like holidays as well as city holidays and, all of that stuff. And then you guys could then make specific changes that you would like at that point.
And Chairman McCoy, this is Brianna with the City Clerk's Office, just to go back. The current status is the first and third Monday of every month, not every other Monday.
Thank you. Thank you, City Clerk. Dr. Apuda, you have your hand up. You have the floor.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that we continue meeting on the first and third Mondays of the month with adjustments for holidays, etc., that might conflict with those days, and that we continue to meet at 5:30 p.m.
I will second that.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Apuda. Thank you, Vice Chair Dolan. Secretary Clerk, can you please take roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Barraza?
Yes.
Commissioner Singh? Commissioner Singh? I think you're on mute. Okay. Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Apuda?
Yes.
Commissioner Vang?
Yes.
Vice Chair Dolan?
Yes.
And Chair McCoy?
Yes.
Sorry, my Bluetooth was connected. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before I adjourn the meeting, I would like to apologize to my fellow commissioners and the public. Today, I was all over the place on the agenda, very low energy. That has never happened to me before. So I just want to apologize. And when I see you guys on August 15th, I will make sure that my energy level is up and I will not skip any items on the agenda. So I do apologize for that. And I would like to adjourn the meeting at 6:34. You guys enjoy the rest of the evening with your families, and I see you August 15th. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.